Track is a big deal when you're an athlete in general. College coaches are usually looking for athletes that run track, actually. So if you have an opportunity to run track, I'd run it for sure.
Right. And you go to a camp. I had a buddy, Sean Wood, you might know him, but he told me what he did when he went to a camp is he would kind of watch the guys a little bit. And then he would pick a kid who maybe didn't look as sharp, and he'd school him. And then he'd pick a kid a little bit better, and then he'd get him. And then he'd finally take the best kid and give him his best shot. Do you kind of have tips that you like to do when you go to a camp, or so you look good when you go, or anything like that?
My biggest thing, I totally agree with Sean. But when I'm at a camp, I usually try and go for that big dog first.
Okay.
Yeah, to just kind of show the coach, like, yeah, I'm a dog too. This kid's gonna see me, and then I think that kind of opens the eyes of the coach as well, because he's like, okay, this dude's not scared of no one.
Today on the podcast, I get to sit down with a top 2023 defensive back in the state of Utah, Smith Snowden. He already has 10-plus Division I offers, all in state and a lot in the Pac-12. But Smith Snowden, thanks for coming on the show today, man.
Of course. How you doing?
Good, man. I kind of want to get into things. Growing up, you obviously played in the Lone Peak system with youth. And so obviously now you're a member of the Skyridge Falcons football team the last 3 years. And so I kind of just want to know, how'd you and a lot of your teammates like McKay Hillstead, Tate Walker, all these guys, how'd you guys all end up at Skyridge essentially?
The biggest reason I came to Skyridge is because I moved houses. But it wasn't just that. I wanted to move over there because I knew Coach Lehman, our head coach, quite a bit. I've kind of grew up knowing him. I know the type of dude he is. And I knew he'd give me an opportunity, and that's really all I wanted. So all of my buddies I knew before Skyridge, so I kind of talked to them about just the opportunity they could have to come to Skyridge and all that stuff. So, yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing why I went to Skyridge, just for the opportunity.
Right. Was it hard leaving a lot of your good friends that were going to go to Lone Peak, playing with those guys all growing up, and then kind of having to make some new friends, going over to the new school, playing for a brand new system, a new team?
No doubt. Leaving my friends back at Lone Peak was just playing with them till 8th grade, since 1st grade was kind of hard for me to do, just because those are my dudes still. I still hang out with all of them. But I kind of had to put the friendship aside and kind of think of my future and what I wanted for football. So yeah, that's kind of why I chose to leave.
What are some of your goals, obviously going into the new year, individual and then goals with your team that you're trying to achieve with your senior year coming up?
Individually, I'm having this next track season come up, and that's gonna be a big thing for me. So I'm excited for that. Hope I can shock some people with the time I run. And then the team goal is obviously just play as a team, and me being a captain on the team, I want to kind of guide them towards victory and a championship,
Right. And so with track in the off season, it's kind of what you do. You run track. What are you running on the team? Are you running the 100-meter? Are you more of a long distance?
Yeah, I do all sprints. So I'm doing the 1, the 2, the 4x1, all the relays. Then my track coach is going to make me run the 400 this year, so that's going to be a tough one, but it'll make me better.
How much does that help you with football? Say you're a kid coming up into the system and you're thinking about running track. How much does that help you as a football player in a skilled position, so to say?
Track is a big deal when you're an athlete in general. College coaches are usually looking for athletes that run track, actually. So if you have an opportunity to run track, I'd run it for sure.
Right. When does the track season start for you? You guys already kicked it up and going, or?
We've started our practices, and then I think my first track meet should be in March.
Mm-hmm. And then with the next football season coming up, you're still going to be pretty heavily into 7-on-7. You're playing with your dad's team, Alpha Recruits. What are some of the big tournaments you guys are headed to this year? And how excited are you guys going into that 7-on-7 season and just that?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. We're actually going to Miami for the battle tournament this weekend, so I'll be in Miami this weekend. Hopefully that'll go good, and then I think we'll be traveling to California and Las Vegas and hopefully nationals, and then we just have a bunch of in-state tournaments.
So you guys are going all over the place. What kind of team do you guys have? Are you guys more of an all in-state team, or you guys got kids from all over? I know before I had Crew McChesney on, he was playing with Paula. He was saying he's getting guys from Mater Dei kind of on his team, and even guys from Vegas. Are you guys kind of more of an in-state team, or are you guys going out and getting guys from all over?
Yeah, we're an in-state team. The biggest thing that we're trying to do is, well, not we're, but like the coaches, they're trying to develop people in the state of Utah. So it's a in-state team, and that's trying to develop and show everyone else what Utah got.
Right. With the 7-on-7, what kind of team do you have? Are a lot of the kids on your team from Skyridge, or are you guys kind of like, or you guys got Lone Peak guys? Or are you more of a Skyridge Essential team?
No, we got people from everywhere in Utah, actually. There's people from Skyridge. There's people from Summit. Most schools, actually. It's good.
Are you playing both ways, or are you just playing defensive side?
I'm mainly focusing on defense, but they'll probably throw me in for some offense as well.
Who's throwing the rock on the team?
So on my team, it'll be McKay Hillstead and Jackson Brousseau, and he's the quarterback at Lehigh and Skyridge.
So there's 2 teams?
No, there's a whole bunch of teams, but that's the team I'm on. Those will be the 2 quarterbacks. They're going to play with 2 quarterbacks. Just switch every drive.
And so for any kids coming up or listening to this, how would they get on an Alpha 7-on-7 team, or what are kind of the steps to becoming an Alpha recruit, so to say?
Just reaching out to the owner and all that stuff, and he's stay active on Twitter. He's always active on Twitter. You can send him a DM, just all that stuff. We train every single week, so that's a big deal.
I see a lot of you guys are active on Twitter. I don't really have it, but sometimes I'll hop on there and just kind of look at things. But being so active on Twitter, how much does that kind of help? And I see all you guys tagging the coaches and your highlights and your game film. How much does that help as a player coming up or wanting to get noticed by colleges and stuff like that?
Social media and Twitter it's a big deal right now, just because times are changing, and that's kind of what a lot of coaches look at. But when you're on Twitter and being active, you got to be putting out good stuff. Like if it's your first day training, you're not looking too sharp, I wouldn't even put that out, because there's no need to. You want to put your crisp, good stuff out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So when you go to a camp, I had a buddy, Sean Wood, you might know him, but he told me what he did when he went to a camp is he would kind of watch the guys a little bit. And then he would pick a kid who maybe didn't look as sharp, and he'd school him. And then he'd pick a kid a little bit better, and then he'd get him. And then he'd finally take the best kid and give him his best shot. Do you kind of have tips that you like to do when you go to a camp, or so you look good when you go, or anything like that?
My biggest thing, I totally agree with Sean, but when I'm at a camp, I usually try and go for that big dog first.
Okay.
Yeah, to just kind of show the coach, like, yeah, I'm a dog too. This kid's gonna see me, and then I think that kind of opens the eyes of the coach as well, because he's like, okay, this dude's not scared of no one.
Right. No, I love that. What kind of camps do you recommend for kids coming up or playing in the system? What camps have you been to? What do you like? What kind of camps do you not recommend that you've been to? Just kind of like what you've learned and grew from going to those camps.
I think all camps are good. I think all camps are good. But there's a point when you want to know when you should go to a camp or not, because you don't want to be going to a camp and not looking crisp and good for anyone watching. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And then some camps, I went to quite a bit of college camps this last summer, I guess, and some of those were UNLV camp, BYU, Utah State. Then I went out to Virginia, the Hoos, and then I went to Ohio State.
You went to all their camps?
Yeah.
You got like a couple favorites?
I I mean, Ohio State was pretty lit. It was a good time over there, and the camp, everything about it was just awesome.
Was there like, so it's a camp, was that an invite-only camp, or is it anyone who kind of could just sign up go?
I believe it was just a sign up, but they wanted me to come out that week, so I went out.
That's cool. So you got to like tour the whole like facility and everything?
Yeah, it was awesome, yeah.
Did you get to meet a lot of the guys there?
Mm-hmm.
What's their facility like?
It was crazy. It was not. I'm trying to even. It was crazy. It was way nice. That's really all I can say. It was awesome.
Was there a lot of other big time recruits at that camp?
Oh yeah,
really.
Everyone was there. Everyone was there.
So it's like if you're top player, you're going to the team camps. It's a top place to get looked at and recruited for sure.
Oh yeah, because everyone's good there. You're gonna be going against the best of the best. So that's kind of. I had a pretty good camp there because I was going against the number one receiver in the class of 2023, and it was a good experience for me.
You went head to head with him?
Yeah.
Who's that guy?
I think his name was Brandon Ignis or something. I don't know how to say his last name.
Did you get the best of him or?
Yeah.
Locked him down. I liked how you said though, like when you go to a camp, you kind of want to be prepped and ready. Sometimes you see a lot of times these kids that will just show up to a camp, right, and hope to get looked at or get some film and kind of get lucky, right?
Yeah.
There's no luck behind it. I mean, day in and day out, I see you putting in the work, grinding with whether it be your brother or training on your body in the weight room. The biggest key when you go to a camp is like it's all about what you do before in the preparation, right? Yeah,
preparation.
So. What kind of things, who are you training with, who do you recommend, and all of that stuff?
So I do most of my trainings with my family. My brother's a DB trainer, so he's getting me get these feet right and all that stuff. And then with my weight program, I'm at the school, and then I work with Ethan Wright, and it's called Easy Training, and that's getting me right. Hopefully he'll bring that track time down this year as well.
So is he more of like a speed and conditioning coach, or is he more of like a strength and performance?
It's both. It's both. Yeah, it's like a 50-50 type of thing. So
where does he train out of?
He's in American Fork at the training room.
Okay, that's cool. I wanted to ask you a little bit about this past 3 years. You've been in the playoffs. You guys have beat Lone Peak. You guys have had a great season, but you haven't been able to go over that hump, right? Last 3 years, you've lost Lone Peak in the playoffs. Bringing in guys like Tassili Akana, and you see all these guys coming into Skyridge. Every year you have like a ton of people trying to get in or come in, more than any other school, I'd say. How have you guys attracted those type of players to come to your school? And hopefully this year, I think it's no doubt that you guys are probably the obvious predicted to win the state championship with the talent you have. Returning, I think you guys are returning most all your defense and 7 or 8 out of the 11 on offense. Yeah. So how are you guys going to be prepared to kind of get over that hump, and how are you guys able to kind of attract and bring in these type of players?
Just bring in the players. I think it's just a culture that we have, and just if you come in just to the school, I'm just put aside football. Skyridge is just a great school. Everyone, there's no it's not a cliquey place. Like everyone's just you be you, and it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then on the football side of it, it's just Coach Lehman and our whole coaching staff. They're just grinders, and they'll get the best out of you. So I think that's what really attracts everyone. They just want to play for a great program, great coaches.
How did you know Coach Lehman? Did he coach your brothers? Yeah,
so he used to be the DC at AF, and so my whole family went to American Fork, so he was there. Then he got that job at Skyridge, and that was kind of something that I was like really interested in. And he also went to my church growing up, so I've known him for a long time.
Right. Yeah. Would you say you're going to AF if he stays there at DC? Nothing changes?
That was definitely an option. It was either them or at Lone Peak, so I didn't know.
It wasn't Skyridge?
No.
Until he went over there. That wasn't in... Yeah. What's kind of been your favorite thing about going to Skyridge?
Like I said, just I love the school. I'm always having a good time at the school. And I feel like everyone is, like I said, it's not a cliquey place. Like
vibe with everyone.
Yeah, everyone's just cool with each other. So I think that's a big deal.
Who would you say, like, when you're coming up and playing in a big time game? I mean, obviously you've played in a lot of big time environments, right? What are you doing to kind of get your mind right before the game, staying focused? You got like a pregame ritual or a meal you got to eat before to stay calm and ready and focused?
So my biggest thing that I've been working on for the last couple of years, I've tried meditation. So that's something that's really helped me to, like, in real life and in football. So I think that's something that I like to do quite a bit and just kind of relaxes me and clears my mind.
Right. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
When playing and watching the game as a student, do you have someone you kind of like to model your game after or watch a lot to get better and see how he kind of does things, or a guy that you look up to?
Yeah. In the NFL, I really enjoy watching Denzel Ward play just because he's a technician and he focuses on his feet more than just the physical aspect of it. So I think he's a really good guy. And then I look up to my older brother a lot because he was playing Division I football at, I think he was 125 and he was starting. So I thought, like, he just got a dog mentality.
Right.
Yeah.
So he was a smaller type of dude, but his mentality kind of like was just locked in.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't going to take no for an answer, and he was going to lock your ass up.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. Then that's great. So obviously, with your older brothers playing football and they've helped you a lot, who would you say is like some of the top coaches that you like to look at and that have helped you a lot with your progression at Skyridge and getting to become kind of the man you are today besides your brother?
Yeah, so Coach Lehman, he's a great, like, mentor. He'll put football aside, and if you want to go over to his house and just talk to him, he's down for that whenever. And that's kind of with all our coaches. They're all just not only good coaches but good people. So kind of look up to all of them. I feel like they have just shaped me into the person I am today, like mentally and physically, just all that type of jazz.
Growing up as a kid, I mean, I've been watching you for a while now. You grew up playing with my brother, and your dad coached the team and stuff. Did you always know you kind of had dreams and you wanted to play college football and maybe even get to the league one day?
Of course, yeah. Growing up, I was always an athletic little kid. So, like, of course, I was one of the better players on the team always.
Right.
So that I got a big head when I was younger. I was cocky and all that jazz. But of course, like that's definitely been my goal since the first grade. So yeah.
What's your college recruitment process been like, going through everything? I mean, I think you picked up your first offer when were you a freshman or a sophomore?
Going into my sophomore year.
Into your sophomore year, you pick up your first offer, and just kind of what's the process been like?
It's been good, but something that I need to always remind myself is to be patient, because sometimes I'm getting overwhelmed by all this stuff, and I have to think back that, like, it's like it really is a process. So I just need to, like, get back and be patient. So yeah, it's a long process.
It is.
Yeah.
How many trips have you taken to visit? Have you visited all the schools that have offered you?
No, I haven't.
How many have you visited? Obviously the in-state.
All the in-states, and then I went to Virginia, and then UNLV, and then I think I'm going to be visiting Arizona and Northwestern pretty soon. So
was it Bronco that was kind of recruiting you out there?
It was Bronco. Yeah.
And when you went out there, did you go to a game? Did you kind of just hang out? I mean, what was the experience like out at Virginia?
It was in the summer, so their season hadn't started, so I just went to their camp, and then they kind of showed me around their campus, what school would be like there, and I got to just meet all their football players and kind of talk to them about, like, what Virginia is. And
did you know Bronco when you were younger, and have you known him for a while, or is that kind of a new relation?
It was kind of a new relation. My pops knew him, but I didn't really know him because I was young when he was over here.
What was your relationship with him? I know he's kind of a more quiet guy, kind of on the platforms and when he speaks and stuff, but what kind of a guy was he? Like,
he was a good dude. Yeah, I talked to him for about like 10, 15 minutes when I was down there, and he's a really reasonable guy. Something that really stood out to me about him, I'm trying to think of their saying they had. I don't remember what it was, but it was something about family first, and he kind of walked me through, like, family's first here, and, like, if something comes up, like you tell me and you're free to like go and all that. Yeah. So that kind of stood out to me. Yeah, that was a big deal.
What kind of other schools are you talking to right now, besides all the other schools that have already offered you?
I'm talking to Washington pretty heavily right now, and Stanford, and I was talking to Ohio State quite a bit, and still am, but the coach that was mainly recruiting me just got a new job, so we'll see what happens with Ohio State.
Where did he go?
He went to Memphis, and the other went to Cincinnati.
So they might talk to you over there too.
Yeah, hopefully.
With this whole new, I wanted to ask you, with this whole new NIL deal, with this whole program and stuff, I listened to a podcast the other day, and it was with Frank Jackson. I don't know if you remember him, but they talked a lot about him. He was obviously heavily recruited. Have you ever seen like any of the, he was saying he saw a lot of the money thrown at him and the opportunities and the deals. Have you seen any of that going through your process? Has anyone offered you like a lot of money or packages or deals already?
Not yet. Not yet, because the state of Utah, NIL deals aren't allowed yet for high school athletes. So hasn't happened yet, but we'll see what happens when I go.
Right.
When I take some visits.
But you haven't kind of been like on the out-of-state schools. You haven't kind of been offered anything yet.
Not yet. Maybe when I visit their schools.
How big of a factor will that play into the decision at the end of the day?
It will play a big factor. I'm trying to make myself not make it a big factor because, like, I don't want to get thrown off by like what the main goal is. So it's gonna be a factor for sure. But I'm gonna try and humble myself and not make it the biggest factor. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it is a big deal.
Yeah.
You saw Bryce Young he's a millionaire before he played his first college football game. So, I wanted to ask you too. What are kind of been the funnest environments you've played in as a team, and kind of the best matchup you've had, and a matchup you kind of look forward to playing in?
The funnest game I think I had this season, all the region games are pretty freaking fun. It's AF is an awesome game, Lone Peak's an awesome game, and Corner Canyon's an awesome game. Those are just some fun games to be in. The environment's just crazy. It's loud. It feels like a next level type of experience.
Mm-hmm. Would you say? I mean, obviously, I don't think it's any doubt that you have the best region in the high school state of football. But who would you say your kind of rival is if you had to pick one?
I mean, we have to say Skyridge has to say it's Lone Peak. They beat us in the playoffs the last 3 years, so I gotta say Lone Peak.
You guys have beat them before; they've beat you, but. Kind of like what I said before, when it comes down to the end of the day in the playoffs, they beat you the last 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, how are you guys going to be able to just get over the hump? I mean, every year it seems like, take this last year, for example, right? You bring in a whole bunch of guys. You have a very good team, top 3 quarterback in the state. Going in that semifinal game, I was talking to people. I'm like, you know what? If Lone Peak... Kind of like when they played Corner in the championship. I thought Skyridge would win. I mean, you guys had already beat them that year, right? And so I was like, if they can keep it close, I think they're going to have a shot. So the first quarter, it was 0-0 or something. It was low scoring, right?
Yeah, first 3 quarters.
First 3 quarters, it was 0, like, complete, like, no scoring. And then the last quarter, it kind of got unwild. But, again, like, what kind of happened there at the end of the game? Because through 3 quarters, it was just a dogfight.
Yeah. I think those first 3 quarters just came down to them having a good defense and us having good defense. And, yeah, that's really what it was. Those are the 2 best defenses in the state, in my opinion. So I think both offenses just had to make some adjustments during halftime, and I guess Lone Peak made some better ones.
That's it, yeah. Do you have like a favorite event you've been to or camp that you've attended out of all the ones you've been to?
Yeah, I went to the All-American, just an All-American camp, and I had a good time there just because I was going up against some top dudes, and I think that made me better. So I think that was a pretty fun thing to experience.
Going into next season too, you're going to be prepared. You guys have a lot of guys coming in and everything. Are you guys going to have a pretty tough schedule going into next year? Are you kind of trying to schedule some teams out of state, or are you going to kind of keep it more in state like you have in the past?
Yeah, we're trying to schedule some out-of-state teams, actually. We're just trying to figure out the whole process. It would be for week 2, and I think my coach is going after some pretty big-time schools, so that should be good.
What kind of schools have you heard that he's trying to go after?
Mater Dei is the biggest one we're trying to get, so I think that'd be a fun game to be in.
You go out to Mater Dei and play them out there?
I think they'd come here.
They'd come here?
Yeah.
Wow. That'd be a cool game for sure. I kind of want to wrap it up here, and I know you got places to be and stuff, but the last thing I kind of want to ask you is what kind of I guess, as kids coming up, and I know a lot of kids look up to you and stuff coming into the program, but what kind of things are you like? You're obviously a team captain, a leader. Staying a leader and staying a captain, what are the things you're kind of trying to doing for your team to hopefully win a state championship and go into next year?
Like I said earlier, just the culture at Skyridge, and I'm trying to build that even more than it is, so they can look up to me and be like, okay, these are the expectations. This is what should be going on, and this is what we should be doing at practice, because it comes down to practice, and if we're not practicing hard, we're not going to play hard, and just all that. Yeah, right. So I just want them to know that.
No, it's simple. If you practice hard and play hard in the game, it will be easier. So essentially, because you'll be more prepared and ready. Yeah. But no, I love that. I wanted to ask you though. We'll wrap it up here again. But who do you got winning the Super Bowl?
Shoot, one sec. Everyone is so damn good this year. So it's hard to say, but I want to say the Bucs, but I don't think it will be the Bucs. But you can't go against Tom Brady. You can't. So I'm just gonna say the Bucs. I don't know.
I think the Bucs. I'm with you. I think it's hard to say against Tom Brady.
You can't.
I would love to see the Bills win it with Josh Allen.
The Bills would be crazy. Yeah.
I think that'd be a cool thing, but. Again, at the end of the day, it's all fun. It'll be fun to watch. I think there's a lot of good teams in this year that can go far. I mean, the Bengals are really young, but they're legit for sure.
Yeah, they are. They have a great offense.
Again, thanks for coming on, man. What's the best place for people to reach out to you if they need to get a hold of you or kind of want to follow you or just learn more about you on your social media platforms or anything? I'll make sure, again, I'm following you and we'll stay connected. But what's the best place for people to reach out to you at?
Probably just Instagram and Twitter. My Instagram is smith.snowden, and then my Twitter is snowdensmith. That's
simple.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks again, man, for coming on. Looking forward to watching you and getting to hang out more. We'll make sure we hang out and keep playing some cards, and maybe I won't get my ass kicked as much next time.
For real.
We'll have some fun. Thanks again for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Yep.